Hi, my name is Lance Rafael Pancho and I'm the leader of this group. Today we'll be explaining our Cseg Prelim project and the games we originally created with. So without further ado, let's get started.
What a good day! I'm Jefferson Sibuan. This time, we are going to present our game. This game called Drop Blocks. But before that, Drop Blocks start with an existing proven design, wherein we collected ideas from existing games and make it better. One of the example is Stack. This game is very popular, wherein you need to stack up the tile as high a player can by using their own timing. And drop blocks start with materials from other resources. And one of the example is the blocks. In real life situation, a block is used to build a houses, building, a tower, or etc. That's why this kind of materials is used in our game in order to build a tower as much a player can.
Hi, I'm Davis Guerra and I'm here to you guys to explain the description and how to play the game Drop Blocks. Drop Blocks is a game that's stacking a blocks into an endless tower of blocks, and you can stack up the blocks as high as you can. To stack a blocks, line up the blocks carefully before you drop the block to create towering stacks of blocks. Stack the blocks densely if going for a score, or drop the blocks into narrow towers if going for the tallest tower, and try to keep your tower balance. Balance is the key to this game. Knowing when and where to drop the blocks will allow you to stack them up into the tallest block tower. This game is super simple control, realistic physics, and easy to learn and anyone can play. Drop Blocks is a P6 game, starts easy but becomes more challenging as you progress. Great for quick, casual gaming session anytime and anywhere.
This game has a different sizes for the blocks in order to feel the player the excitement and the challenging of the game. And that's all. Have fun to our game and thank you for listening.
Hello, my name is Heidelin Iko. I'm here to discuss to you the game idea we created and its starting points. The game idea we created is called Way Home. Starting points of the game idea. This game starts with a combination of narrative, core aesthetics, and ruler system observed in everyday life. It will be further explained later. Discussion of the game idea. Way Home is a 2D platform game or 2D adventure platform game about a dog waking up to an unfamiliar place where his owner left him. So what are platform games? These are a video game genre and subgenre of action games in which the core objective is to move the player character between points in the environment. To get home, the dog needs to find clues to proceed to the next place or level. This will be his way to return to his owner. So as you can see here in this slide, these are the can of beverage he drank, the owners, and the cigarette. But along the game, the dog has to avoid computer-controlled enemies he will encounter in his way. These are the dog catcher that is shooting him with a net, and some dogs that must be defeated or avoided. In this slide, you can see the artworks I prepared. This game is a combination of narrative and core aesthetics because it tells a story about a dog who believes he wasn't intentionally abandoned by his own owner. But in the end, he found that his owner actually adopted a new dog. The next person to discuss the formal elements of the game idea we created is Arniel Natividad.
Hello, I'm Ernest Natividad and I'm going to discuss the formal elements of the game idea. And there are 8 elements which are the players, objectives, procedures, rules, resources, conflicts, boundaries, and outcomes. The first one is the player. It is a person taking part of a game. And the game Way Home supports a single player versus computer-controlled enemies to fight with. The next is the objectives or goal of the game. It is the thing that aimed at or sought at. The objective of the game is to reach its destination, where the player's character, which is the dog, has to return to his owner by retrieving items and avoiding the enemies on his way. The next element is procedures. It is actions or methods of play allowed. The game's rules. Actions of the player include jumping and running, which are behaviors observed in a real-life dog, and also it helps to accomplish the objectives of the game. Next is the rules. Avoiding enemies to live. Dying means spawning to the checkpoint and solving puzzles. Avoid and pass the enemy, as not doing so will reduce the dog's lives, which is only 3. Dying means that the player has to revive from the checkpoint. The player has to solve puzzles in the game, such as a problem of sequence. Resources. These are provided for the player that is necessary for the gameplay, such as lives, health, and clues. Lives and health will reduce if the dog hit by the enemies, while the clues or items need to collect to proceed to the next level. Next is conflicts. This game has conflicts, including computer-controlled enemies, sequence puzzle to be solved, clues to be found, and traps. Computer-controlled enemies and traps will interfere in the dog's way. And also, it is hard to get the items serves as the clues. The next is boundaries. A game with a fictional story about an abandoned dog. It can be emotional for the player, because at the end of the game, the dog or the player found out that the owner adopted a new dog, and that's the reason why. The last is the outcomes. Survive to proceed, reaching the destination, find the game's twist, and this could be aesthetics, narrative, and drama. Also, winning conditions are surviving a level to proceed to the next and completing the game by reaching the dog's owner's house to find the ending twist. And that's all for the game Way Home.
Hi, my name is Lance Rafael Pancho, and I am presenting our one of the game ideas and its starting points. So let's start about the game idea. So our game idea is a simple glass game which consists of pouring water that can be played with at least 2 or more players.
Good day, Sir Janus. I am Precious Angel Manlangit, and I will be presenting the chosen starting point for the game Drops. Water is essential for our everyday life. It is so important to us that we know that there are consequences when we waste it. This is also where we base the starting point of our game, which is the rule or system from our everyday life, and it is about pouring water and avoiding it to spill. It sounds simple, but from time to time, we must have experienced some challenges when we are pouring water and other kinds of liquids, having the goal of no spillage to save water. And so, we took that idea and used it for the game with a twist along with some added rules and obstacles for the players to have fun with.
Here is the discussion of our game idea. So Drops is a simple multiplayer game about pouring water to the glass. As the game progressed, it became more challenging than usual. You can compete with your friends and relatives, but can you not spill the glass? We will find out.
Good day, Sir Janus. I am Joanna May Escopeta and I will explain the gameplay. This game can be played by more than 2 players. At the beginning of the game, you will see a glass filled with a little water on the table, where each player needs to able to put at least 1 drop of water inside a glass by simply tapping on any part of the device. All players lined up to pour water into the glass. This process repeated until the water overflows the glass, and whoever is the last to put water in the glass and it overflows that player loses.
Good day, Sir Janus. I am Jan Daniel Del Monte, and these are the following rules in our game. Rule number 1. Player can choose how many water to pour into the glass. This rule will give the players flexibility so that they can come up with their own strategy for winning the game by estimating how much water will be poured into the glass. Rule number 2. The player has only 5 seconds per turn. To prevent players from becoming idle while playing the game, we construct this rule which ensures that players will not be bored for waiting their opponent's turn. Rule number 3. If the player does not pour the water in the allotted time, one-fourth of the player's water should be poured. Because there is a time limit, each player should pour a glass of water within 5 seconds. If a player misses their time to pour the water into the glass, the opponents will have the advantage to win the game or vice versa. Rule number 4. The player who spills the water loses. The game will be over if one of the players spills the water.
Moving on to the mechanics, dynamics, and aesthetic, in short for MDA. Our mechanics is pouring. Players should pour the water to the glass and preventing it to spill.
So let's proceed to the dynamic of the game. It depends on the player the amount of water that he or she will be placed on the glass. If the player holds it for a long time, it can affect the entire playing. Will immediately cause the water to overflow into the glass. It is dynamic of the game because based on the meaning of game dynamics, the dynamic of the game is the larger changes that occur as a result of player's action. Just like what I said, or based on the water that he will put, which will result of a big changes throughout the behavior of the game.
Aesthetic. Challenge. Game as obstacle course. Urge to master something. Boost the game's replayability. Because your goal in this game is to not to overflow the water, you must be very careful of how much water you pour into the glass. Because the game will continue until one player fails to not overflow the water in the glass. The game provides intense and enjoyable gameplay to the players. There is a good chance the players will play it multiple times. It not only entertains players, but it also improves players' critical thinking skills.